Season 2 has brought a lot of changes and quite a few new settings, so we're going to go ahead and go over them today. These are the most efficient settings you will find for overall quality and gunfights. We're going to start off with something super underrated and hardly ever talked about, the HUD bounds. What is the HUD bounds? The HUD bounds is where all this stuff borders up at. So the closer you have in it, the less eye travel that you're going to have to do, which means you're more efficient. You're not going to be looking all around the screen for all your information. I highly recommend you move this in just a little bit until you get comfortable with it. You can move it further back out or further in. Moving on to another one that is not utilized enough. You need to start utilizing this tab right here. That is your quick settings. If you want to set something to be a quick setting, you can go ahead and hit Y on some and some it's triangle. The reason why this is so important is, for me particular, I like to go ahead and change this over to all lobby and then turn on proximity, and I control people. And you can get to this very fastly with key combines. Now, there's other settings that you are going over, like your sensitivity and whatnot. You can go ahead and favorite them right here and go over them as well. Moving on to controller, the first thing I'm going to recommend, if you're on a regular controller, go ahead and turn flipped on. What that's going to do is it's going to reverse your aim down sight and your lethal and tacticals. This is much more efficient for people that do not have digital triggers. Stick layout preset is going to be default controller vibration. I turn that off. It's a personal preference. I think it's super distracting. Dead zone input is something for another video. If you want me to go over this, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Under aiming, I got 88.6. I like this that way when I aim down sight, it slows down just a little bit. We do not do sensitivity multiplier just for muscle memory. Under vertical aim axis, everything underneath that I leave standard. Tactical stance sensitivity multiplier is 70 because I want a little bit in between ADS and un-ADS. Aim response curve type, I like dynamic, and the reason why I like dynamic is because it makes my sticks more sensitive. The more you jab them, the faster they're going to go. If you're just gradually moving them, they're going to go a little bit slower. ADS sensitivity multiplier is a 70. ADS sensitivity transitioning time, you want this instant. As soon as you click the ADS button, you want it to be right there. You don't want any delay in that. Custom sensitivity per zoom, we're going to leave that off. Target aim assist is on. Aim assist type is default. Third person ADS correction type is assist. And then we're going to go ahead and leave the rest of this alone. Moving on to gameplay. I like to have mine on automatic sprint. Slide mantle sprint is going to be off. Toggle off. Tactical sprint behavior, I like double tap, that way I have more control during my gunfights. Grounded mantle we're going to leave on. Automatic airborne mantle off. Ground mantle off. Slide/die behavior, I like mine on tap to slide. Although there is a new hybrid setting, if you want to take the time to get used to it, what you have to do is click down on your L3. I personally do not like it, for the simple fact that's just more wear and tear on your controller, and tap to slide is perfectly fine. If you do need a dive with tap to slide, all you have to do is time it perfectly and hold it down. There should be no problems right there. Plunging underwater needs to be free. Parachute automatic behavior, you need that off. You need to be able to get as close to the ground as you possibly can. Sprinting door bash, we're going to leave that on. Ledge climb behavior, we're going to leave that as movement based. That way whenever you move around, it decides automatically, determining on what you're doing, if it's going to climb or not. Under graphics settings, we also have quite a few important ones that we need to go ahead and utilize. These are my basic settings. I am on PC, so these will not actually apply to most y'all. Although I'm running the 4080 for those y'all that are on PC, you can go ahead and copy this. This is also as efficient as you can get it. I maintain between 150 and 200 frames. Moving on to quality, here's the quality settings for PC. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through it real fast. If you're on PC, you can absolutely slow down this and look at it later, because we need something for a little bit of everyone here. Under view, now this is something we need to talk about. Everyone wants to smash this FOV up to 120. I personally recommend people start at 110 and move up gradually as you feel comfortable. 120 is a lot of information that you don't necessarily need, so I would recommend staying between 110 and 115. We want affected, wide, 90, wide. World motion blur, any kind of blur, you want to turn that off. And the rest of this is pretty much self-explanatory, except for this inverted flashbang. A lot of streamers were trying to sell this as the most OP thing out there. I absolutely hate it. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments, but we're going to go ahead and leave this one off. Moving on to audio. Under audio, if you are on regular console, I highly recommend you move to home theater. Now, if you are on PC, there is a new PC speaker setting. The audio is extremely heightened, although it gets so heightened it becomes confusing. So if you're like me, we're going to go ahead and stick with home theater. Now, moving on to volumes. You want your master gain volume all the way at 100. Music, you don't need that at the very end of the game. Turn that stuff off. Dialogue volume is important because you all the time don't see the indication for the airstreak, so you want to hear it a little bit. Effects volume is 100. Cinematic volume, go ahead and turn that off again. War track volume, all right, now that one's pretty cool. It really only plays in vehicles. I like that one. Voice chat volume is going to be a personal preference. Voice chat on, voice channel. Now, if you're starting to hear a lot of people and you don't want to hear a lot of people, you can turn this on to party only. Me, like to troll in proximity, I have it on all lobby. Last words, voice chat, you want this on. Proximity chat is a personal preference. This should be your default. Microphone mode, you want to have it on open microphone. That way it's not voice activated because sometimes you're going to be talking a little bit quieter. Now with this test microphone, I highly recommend you go ahead and test this for your friends. You're going to have a little bar right here. If I be quiet, no background noise. An easy way to test this is to take your headset and just go and slowly snap louder, and then you will be able to go up here and determine where you need that to be. Subtitles, you can go ahead and leave that alone if you want. Now the rest of this, the only important thing down here is mono audio off, reduce tinnitus on. You want that on because if you get constant ringing in your ears, this will absolutely help. The rest of it is absolute personal preference. Now under interface, there's quite a few important things in interface. The most important thing in interface is this color customization. Now, if you look at this, that is a ping right there. The way I got this is changed this right here. It's typically red. I turned it to green. You are not going to miss that green. But you can mess around with all these colors and change them to your personal preference. Some people would talk about all these color filters and stuff. Honestly, they're not that important. Don't buy the hype. Now we're back down here to HUD. We've already talked about that. Your main map should be square. You want rotation on, horizontal compass on, crosshairs on. Although under crosshair, you got two different options. I like crosshair dot or center dot. I like the crosshair personally. I don't like to have the center dot because it's just not enough for me to see. Visual hit markers on because the audio isn't always there. Damage based hit markers, yes, because you want to be able to visually see the difference in the damage that you're doing. Player name, full name, in-game chat, that's a personal preference. Vehicle HUD prompts is an absolute important one. Have you ever gotten ran over by a vehicle and you're like, where did that come from? It's probably because you have it on fade 10 seconds. If someone's in a vehicle, I never want to lose location of that vehicle. Telemetry is going to be custom telemetry label size. It's default. Connection meter is off. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. If you got value from this video, go ahead and smash the like and pass it on to the homeboy that needs it. As always, peace and love, y'all.